I'm a little tired. Now, you might be wondering where the hell I'm at. I'm outside in a park that I'm very familiar with, and fortunately, they decided to turn all the lights out for the most part. And this is like the only light source I have, which is like right over there. So, it's just, it might be a little hard to see me, but I decided to choose this location because I thought, why not? I get the most privacy. And I can be outside too on top of that. But it's really wet, and it's been raining and cold, so if you hear some wind, hear some background noises, I can't really control that. But it might have come out of the left view for this video, my face and all that, and I thought I'd give it the opportunity to give this a try and also be more open. I haven't really ever opened up my feelings on a lot of issues, a lot of things when it comes to the RML and a few other personal stuff in my life, and I thought, why not? I'll open it up a little bit and show my face on top of that. Kind of before the video starts, you kind of will see me do something like I'm doing right now, which is looking around, stuff like that. That's just a normal reaction I have. It's just kind of what it is. I'm not looking around on my shoulder being fearful or something. That's just my normal reaction. So I will do that throughout the video, and that's just normal. But I thought I'd mention that. For those that don't know me or not familiar with me, and this is like your first time seeing this, I've been part of the Finance of Freddy's community since October of 2023. Excuse me. And I help the community big time with several things. I'm not going to say like I'm super famous or anything, but there is a couple accomplishments. If you're within the community, you might know me, such as the rise of FNATG. That's a game that's really popular for Roblox, which is what brings up to the RML. I help really popularize the Discord server and a couple other things around Roblox, FNAF, max modes, and fan games, and all the other stuff on top of that. So, and that just covers several things. There's a lot more I could cover before the RML. What I've been doing during and what's happening now and all that stuff, but I thought I'd give you at least a quick note. Now, I will say I'm not going to really try to cut out footage or anything like that, unless I totally messed up. A little bit later in the video, you might see a random cut. Don't worry, I kind of planned it for that way. But anyways, and when it comes to the RML, I'm gonna one day be the leader of it whenever Lucky steps down, which is, who knows when that's gonna happen. But until then, I'll be here for quite a while. I have no plans of leaving the RML or the staff or stuff like that. If I ever leave the staff, that won't be until much later. But for now, I'm here to stay. Now, I do have a little bit of notes going over, so if you see me looking down and stuff, that's just me reading over my notes. So I do apologize for that. Now, obviously, when it comes to being a list leader, you obviously have to participate in a lot of stuff, which unfortunately not everyone's able to do, including myself, since I'm 23, working, and all that life jumbo mumbo stuff. And that's kind of what I'll be sharing, is my side of the mumbo jumbo. While I do understand that anything I could say to forgive me and excuse my lack of motivation and stuff like that, and a few other things by the majority of the community, I don't think I should keep doing that, which is what I said earlier. In some way, keeping private doesn't really help me in any way. It just keeps getting in the way, which is kind of something I've been contemplating about for a few weeks now at this point. Maybe a month at this point, talking about it. And this thing about attention seeking or anything about it, which some topics we're going to get into could really turn dark very quick. And I'm going to try my best to censor myself on what topics I'm going to say, what words to use, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to grab for attention or sympathy or anything like that. I just want you guys to understand where I'm coming from and what struggles I'm going through. There's like several topics I'll be talking about. Glass Canada is something I want to talk about for a very long time privately, and this is my opportunity to do so. But I'm going to hold on Glass Canada. I'm going to focus on 3 separate things. First thing we're going to be talking about is outside of the community entirely. Whatever happened outside has nothing to do with the community. And then we're going to talk about what's affecting my work within the community, but outside influence happened, and obviously what happens in the community, it's affecting me and stuff like that. So that's kind of your 3. Yes, work. Let's start with work. Some of you know I work at Walmart, 2 to 11 p.m. I don't work 9 to 5. Our schedule's a little weird. And unfortunately, I've been there for 3 years. Unfortunately, there has been some hiccups on the road that I just walk in some days and I'm like, oh, man. If you see my animations, the Pop-Tart one, that's not the only outlier I have when it comes to stomach problems. It's something I've been dealing with most of my life. And it seems like some people don't have a grasp of that. Even if I try to explain and say, hey, look, I get it. I go to the restroom a little bit too much. But it's my stomach, man. What can I do? I've been dealing with this for most of my life. I've been through several emergency rooms. I never been diagnosed what's wrong with me. But just unfortunate circumstances with my stomach, and there's nothing I can really do about it other than ride it out for basically the rest of my life, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. But the problem now, it's like, at least for a while it used to be, was they would talk bad behind my back, and I didn't really appreciate that. Because there's the things about joking. It's like, if you were to talk to me directly and, make a little joke about my bathroom issues, I would be like, hey, I get you're making a joke, but I kind of don't want you to do that. There's a difference between that and then just flat out me directly telling you not to do that, and you still do it behind my back. And the main reason why they just talk smack is just they think I'm just getting out of work, which is not true. If I were never had to deal with the issues I have with it, I would gladly take it. If it means I don't have to go to the restroom 20 times a day or some crazy stuff like that. And because of that, I've been trying to find a balance between when it's appropriate time to go and when it's not. And, well, I'm still trying to figure it out 3 years later. So it's kind of one of those things where it's annoying, Well, what you can do. All right. this section is going to get pretty dark very quick. I'll try to summarize it. I wrote down a bunch of stuff of this, but I'll try to summarize it a little bit. I always had a good mother. There's never been a doubt. I always had a good mother. It's always my father's side that I never really had a good relationship with. And some people might say daddy issues immediately. I hope it doesn't come across like that. But, you know, we're talking about my actual father, who was a terrible person, did some horrific stuff, not only to me, but some of my family members. Thankfully, he passed away a long time ago, so we don't have to worry about him no more. And some of the stuff he was doing to me, I don't remember. I don't remember any of it, which is interesting because while I don't remember it, which is a good thing, I mean, don't remember trauma. That's always a good thing. But what's the thing about trauma is that it doesn't stay with your memories. It also affects you mentally and physically as well throughout your life, which I had a lot of complications from throughout my, I guess, when I was like a toddler up until when I was in kindergarten, when I finally got on some medication to help me out with some of the issues I was dealing with. And then after he passed away, I had another stepfather who I consider him once as my father, call him dad several times, and he abandoned not only me but my a few others, which is, it's unfortunate, but at the same time, I don't know how to make out of it. Yes, it's a shitty thing, but I think it was probably for the best. Considering that I haven't seen him in forever now at this point. And then, hopefully I don't get too much trouble with this. And then you got my current stepfather, who we never had a good relationship. And it might be just because of my past relationships and not being able to trust people. And one conversation we had, he told me that I was trying to get him and my mom a divorce. So that's why I don't really talk to him ever after that. It's kind of hard to fix a relationship after that. Telling straight up someone that you're causing this drift between us and I want you to get out. Stay away from it. Don't try to be part of our lives. You know, that's how I personally feel about it, which is, it is what it is, but it's just part of life, I guess, which is unfortunate. Now I did mention medication. I'll briefly touch on it. I really don't know how to tackle this topic because, in a way, there's always a good side and a bad side when it comes to taking medication on a regular basis. The bad stuff about you doesn't come out, but you also remove the good part of you as well. So you end up kind of becoming a bland person overall, depending on what medication you take. Now, the ones I'm on now, it's removing the negative parts about me, but it's keeping the positives for the most part intact. But it doesn't remove the negative entirely, because there's some days where I can, for example, that work thing I was talking about, I'll walk in and be thinking about that, and I'm like, man, that really grinds my gears. And I'll be thinking about it for a while. So, this is the part where I've been trying to move out for a little while, and if you know anything about the market and the apartments and all that, everything is just so expensive. Or I can't really move out yet until I get a better paying job. That's just how it is. Hmm. Uh, I've been trying for a little bit. I'll get into specific details about me trying to move out. Uh, but it's been kind of unsuccessful so far, which I'll get over in a moment. That's in a different section of the video entirely. Same thing with the status of my channel. Now, there's only one other job I can think of, at least, working in a different company entirely that's near me that I could work at. And I just hate factory work. I used to work in factory before I started this, and it was probably some of the most miserable time in my life. And I kind of don't want to go back to factory, so. Alright, I think that ends that section. Okay, now we're going to be getting into community-related stuff, but outside influence are in effect. Okay, first, let's talk about my channel. I haven't been uploading at all, which is kind of obvious. And the whole moving out thing has been causing those issues. Now, the thumbnails and stuff like that, those are free. I can make them at any time. But that just comes down, which is just motivation and laziness. So until I get better, and I've been trying to work on that thumbnail style where it works for me, and I feel good about making that thumbnail, but it also isn't completely thrown away either, and it doesn't take like 200 years to make. So it would be really nice if I can be able to make some progress on the thumbnails, and not just that, not just the thumbnails, with my hundreds of videos that I just have unlisted that I could just upload anytime if I can just sit down and make a thumbnail. Editing, I had to remove that temporarily. Since the whole moving out thing is trying to happen, I've been trying to save up, and it's been kind of unsuccessful, unfortunately. One of those things I make a decision on is cutting all my editing software, cutting off some other subscriptions, and if I do end up editing this video together, which is most likely I will, it's going to be some free software that I used a couple years ago that it's just a simple cut and put together. Nothing fancy jumbo that you probably would expect from me in editing, like a fade in and fade out, maybe a little bit of music in the background and all that jazz. Now, this also brings up the RML channel as well. This ain't just my channel, this is also that channel as well. And stuff like the RML rewards, recap, that has been stopped at a screeching halt because of it. And I do apologize if you guys are really hyped for the RML rewards or like really hyped for those recap videos. That always feels good when people are wanting to see things on the recap and make sure I get things right on that. I always appreciate that people are watching it at least. And a little bit more into the RML rewards. It goes, no editing software. How am I going to make the video? Well, the previous plan was going to have scripting with some new story to it that I was going to add to it. Or not story, it was more like a it's something that's going to be what do you expect from the RML rewards from last year, but a bit more. And unfortunately, if you're was going to volunteer, we're going to volunteer for voice acting on the video. I do apologize. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go through it. But I can guarantee you this. With the RML Awards, it will at least contain the bracket, the categories, and the trailers for the upcoming games. I did mention this to one person in particular, Grounded, Grounded, that I would put that on there. I will find a way to do it if I'm not going to be able to edit it. But at least I'm going to try to make sure, especially the first two, the categories in the bracket, I'm going to make sure that's a guarantee. There will be results for that. Guaranteed. Even with a video or without a video. Maybe worst case scenario, I'll just make a community post about it. Say who won, who lost. And we'll go from there. Now, the whole moving out thing, I know I've been going back and forth, but my notes is all over the place. I've only been doing it for a couple months, removing some of the descriptions. It's only been a few months. Obviously, I'm not going to rake in thousands of dollars every month doing that or anything like that. So it is a time process, and if I were to, you know what, I'm going to make this video for the RML Awards. I'm going to make sure it's going to be just that 1 month and then cancel the subscription and then move on. And maybe catch up on a couple other things. But we'll see how the future folds, basically. Live streaming. Okay. Like the thumbnails. Live stream I can do without spending any money. All I need is just OBS and a game to play. And I just click record and then we're good. So, obviously, I lost quite a bit of interest in the max modes, which I'll go in a little bit. Let me move this. There we go. Which I'll go over specifically why, but I've been interested in some other games like Left 4 Dead. That's a game that I always love. I've been getting to other first-person shooters, hero shooters, Counter-Strike, Overwatch, those type of games, or some random other games like car games or something. Like I've been playing a bunch of other random games, even Roblox. Like I was playing Flight Escape quite a bit. And if you want to see me stream at all, just because you like the content I'm producing, or you just want to see me once in a while, I'm more than happy to stream it. I just don't know if it's gonna work out for my channel, which is kind of what I've been thinking about. And on top of that, Facecam could be a thing, which I can add. And I guess one more side note to it, which is why this is in this category. My parents... Okay, so let me give the layout of my house, at least briefly. You got my room right here. Then you got this living room that used to be right here. And then my parents' bedroom. Now, my parents decided to break down their wall and then connect it to the living room. And then make a new wall to make it just one big bedroom. So they took quite a bit of the living room and make it into the bedroom. The problem is that my bedroom wall is so thin that even just a normal talking voice, they will hear me. So if there's moments where I'm just too quiet and stuff, that's the reason why. And that's another good reason to try to move out. Just be able to talk a little bit more freely. But I kind of wish they built at least my wall a little bit bigger before they completely done everything else. But it is what it is on that one. Obviously, when you're juggling with this many stuff, there's some smaller stuff, more smaller projects, like the thumbnails I just mentioned. I'll be slacking off because of it. You know, trying to make that poll for the bracket, you know, I've been barely doing it once a week. I already mentioned the thumbnails like 100 times. I'm not going to go over it again. Alright, now we're getting into part of the community. Now, you're going to get this cut right now. Hello, this is from a different timeline entirely. You know, I'm not sitting over there by the bench or at the park or anything like that. This is more in the past now. Before I made my trip over there, because I'm on my lunch right now. And I decided to test out the recording to see if everything's good. So I'm looking over the footage real quick, and as you can see, the coloring looks very weird and stuff. There is a toggle in the camera that can change the filter of it, and when I was looking at it, at least at this filter, I thought that was the correct one I need, and now looking at it, it's obviously not it. There's a mix of coloring and black and white. I don't know what that is about. I don't know why those are things in that, so I do apologize for that. Since this is a camera, this is actually my first time using it. This part of the section, at least. At least this part of the section. This was several hours before I did the recording at the park. So, whoopsies. So I'm just gonna go read a little bit through it, and if it's good, you might see it. If it's good, you'll see it. But anyways, now we're gonna talk about the community-related stuff, but the outside influence are affected. And obviously, I haven't been uploading in a while. You know, I have all these videos, and I have not uploaded anything in the past few months now. And main reason why is that I'm trying to move out. One of my toughest decisions is getting rid of a bunch of descriptions that would help with some of my projects I want to work on, and one of those ended up being Adobe Premiere Pro. Now I'm gonna randomly cut in to fix a mistake I made in the video, which that is no longer true. So Adobe ended up taking my money and my subscription got renewed. That was not the plan. It wasn't for the past couple months where they couldn't take any money, but now, just when I got one of my paychecks, I didn't move all of it to my savings account at the same time, because after a few hours of sitting on my bank account, they just took away $60 away from me. So that's lovely. So I guess now I have Adobe for the month. So, but that was not the plan or the idea. Of course, I will try to take advantage of it, I guess, with that little accident that I'm pretty pissed at, that I just lose the money, but it is what it is. So as of right now, I don't have anything to edit other than whatever software I found that's free and simple to put together for this video. And so far, it's only been a few months, and I've been kind of quite unsuccessful with it. It doesn't seem like I'm saving a lot of money like I was hoping for, and that's just kind of the way of life it is. It just means that I need to stretch out my opportunities somewhere else where I'll get paid more or move up or something like that. You know, anything to get out of the situation I'm in right now, which is trying to move out. I can't say when I will get back to editing. I can't say that for sure. especially for the RML awards, the recap, and all the other stuff. Sorry if I'm glancing off. That's just kind of how I am when it comes to talking, because I'm not used to talking to a camera, so excuse me. But ignore the noise. I'm around with a bunch of cars. But what was I on? Yeah, like I said, the RML awards recap and stuff. It's like, would I make a video out of it? Here's the thing. I'll guarantee you this. There will be a bracket. There will be some sort of the categories. And maybe one other thing. I can't guarantee you it'll be all in one video, or it will be in a video at all. We're just kind of getting that point where a lot of stuff where you probably read it in the past, just a few minutes ago to even maybe 20. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but we're getting to the point where this is what it is. Not much I can do, which is unfortunate. Worst case scenario when it comes to RML awards, I'll just make a post, Discord post, YouTube posts, saying who the winners are and stuff like that. You know, that's like the worst case. So no matter what happens, RML awards is going to happen. It's just, would I make a video about it or not? Would I make a video? And it looks very unlikely, which is, I know it's not good news at all. And, you know, I could get help with other people, but the problem is, like, this project was supposed to be bigger than last year, and I'm kind of running into a lot of problems now because of it. And to all the people that were supposed to voice act in this video, I do apologize. It was not in my best interest to go in that direction. If I could have kept it, I would have. And it's just kind of the way it is now. Now, another thing that brings up is, like, I haven't been live streaming too much either. I've been live streaming rarely, maybe once a month at most. And it's something I could do without spending any money. All I have to do is just boot up OBS, make a thumbnail. Thumbnails are free. And just hit live stream, hit record on that. But the thing is, it's like, I'll touch on it a little bit later, but I'm kind of been losing my interest in max modes and stuff like that. So if you guys are interested in seeing me do other stuff, like shooters, first-person shooters, zombies, it could be something Roblox related too. It could be Flood Escape and stuff like that. You know, I've been playing that game quite a bit. It's always been my favorite game, but enough about that. But yeah, if you guys are interested in seeing that content instead, or maybe just at least seeing me once in a while, I'm more than happy to provide that. I just didn't know if it was a good idea to do that, because I know Taco Man really want me to do Pizza Man. And I'll get into that Pizza Man, Beat Balaco, or whatever you want to call it, all that stuff later. But it's just losing interest in max modes was just, you know, it was coming at some point. Now, I will say when it comes to live streaming, I have a little bit of problem when it comes to controlling my volume of my voice. You know, I want to speak loud and clear to you guys. And what my parents decided to do is that there used to be my bedroom, this living room right here. Living room right here, and then my parents' bedroom. They decided to tear down their bedroom wall and took all the living room. And it's now it's connected between my room and their room, and there's only a small little bit of a drywall that's blocking, the small drywall basically separating the two rooms. And it's kind of a little frustrating because now I had to be quieter than usual, and it's becoming hard to stream because of it. So that's like another element. Now that's not too much of a problem. I can always stay quiet, but when like stuff like air conditioning's going off, which you hear in live streams, squeaky chair, a fan going on, especially when it gets hot during the summer, I always need that on, or I'm just gonna stick to everything, basically sweat all over the place. But there will be problems with that when it comes to live streaming. So if you're not able to hear me every time, I do apologize. But that is a little heads up. If you want to see me live stream other content other than Five Nights at Freddy's, I'll be more than happy to provide. If you just want to see me live stream just random stuff, it doesn't matter which one, as long as you want to see me, I could do that as well. Maybe even with face cam now, since hello. And that does bring up with juggling a lot of projects and try to do all this and that, and I just been slacking. I never been a very motivated person. I just kind of what I am. There's rarely things where I'll be sparked up so much that I just need to make a video about it or stuff, like the recaps and stuff. It was like, that was an idea I had, but it was never a thing I want to go on forever when it comes to recap. Same thing with a few other things as well. It's like, this ain't the first time running a YouTube channel. I run a couple others, and some of them died because lack of interest on it anymore. And I'm not saying I'm losing interest in the RML. I still want to be part of the community, even after I'm done with everything. Even, once I get my leader position, and then step down after a while, I still want to be part of it, because this is definitely one of my more happier places. And trying to juggling all of this kind of stressed me out to the point where I just want to go somewhere for a little bit, stay away from the server for a little bit, which is, I think that's normal. I think that's fine. When you're only talking about one thing, which is max modes, Five Nights at Freddy's max modes, for like, oh, excuse me, my phone just went off. For a while, your interest starts dying out, which is, I think that's just normal. That's just the way it is. Let's see what else I got. Like I said about the videos, it's like 100, like, I probably got at least 100 videos unlisted. All I need is just to make a thumbnail and get ready. But I'm not the best person when it comes to making thumbnails. At least I'm not quick and efficient. I do want to at least put some effort into the thumbnails. Even if no one's going to watch them, I still want to put some effort so I can get that learning experience when it comes to making thumbnails. But I just never got around to do it more often. Because the only times I really make thumbnails is at this moment, right now, which is on my lunch. And I just kind of stopped doing that because I was like, I don't want to spend an hour of my life every day making content, doing content. On my 1 hour, I'm free to do whatever to relax. Excuse me. But until I found a better way to be more efficient with the thumbnails, I'm probably going to keep slacking on it. That's the honest to God truth with it. What else I got? Okay. Now, I'm not going to be able to get through this entire thing before my lunch ends. So, I'm going to try to cover as much as I can. And then if it randomly cuts out, and you'll probably see me back in the same area I was before. But we're going to talk about some stuff within the community that problems arise without the outside influence, meaning that the problems I'm having are in the community. I know some of y'all want the RML to be FNAF only list. I get it, you know, you don't think We're Strict Babysitter is a Five Nights at Freddy's mode that should not be included with the Five Nights at Freddy's stuff. You don't think 1998 should not be included with the Five Nights at Freddy's modes. I don't have a problem with that opinion whatsoever. I think, like I said earlier, with the idea with the list, when it comes to remaking it, making a FNAF only list, stuff like that. That's not how I always want to see the RML. I want the RML to be not just Five Nights at Freddy's, but stuff that also have elements of Five Nights at Freddy's. I think it makes a better experience to the RML, and it brings a lot more creativity instead of the same stuff over and over again. I mean, to the point where I feel like some modes, people will be like, this is really good, and I look at it, and it's just, oh wow, I can think 3 other games that has the exact same thing that's going on as this. And I'm not talking about just rip-offs of the Scott Cawthon games. I'm talking about like games that look like it has its own thing, or tries to have its own thing, and it looks very good and stuff. It's just like, man, it's so related to the other stuff, and that's why I like this way. I like to be very creative with it, and somewhere in the description, I will make a Google form about feedback when it comes to the RML, and it's something me and a few others were talking about this feedback thing. Just to hear what you guys think about the RML and stuff, and see what direction we need to go for it. And if you guys can take the time to answer that, that'd be great. Oh no! Let me backtrack a little bit. I apparently did not say this earlier. My scripting is all over the place because this is kind of a bit more of a rant more than an actual constructed good video. It's just me ranting and rambling on. So let me backtrack a little bit. So I did not mention earlier what was supposed to be the main list, extended list, and unlimited list. Like, what could that possibly be? So, the idea was this. Have one that's called FNAF Only List, which contains modes that are basically FNAF related to the Scott Cawthon games. They won't have like 1998 or We're Strict games that people complain about. So, like stay in your office, for example, and instead of free roaming all over the place, you stay within the office. Then another list you can have is a FNAF element list, where free roaming can be added and a few other things that are not traditionally used in the Scott Cawthon games, but there's enough of elements of the Scott Cawthon games that it can be added to the list. That's where 1998 and the We're Strict games and a few others could be a part of.
which is kind of what we already have going to a certain extent, what we have right now, minus a few other things. But I think this could help clear up a lot of misunderstanding when it comes to the RML, which is something I'll go on about a little bit into the video. Oh yeah, some other modes, like the party modes from Five Nights at Freddy's Plus. You know, that could be something added into the elements list, FNAF element list, or the dog watching. Now I did have one more, but I'm kind of getting lost in the scripting. I did have one more, which I'm trying to read over exactly, but I'm kind of getting lost in my notes. You know, that's kind of what happens when you're ranting. And then you try to read it like a couple days later, and you're like, what the hell am I talking about? Oh, okay. I kind of see where I'm going. So, the last one I mentioned, one thing that's going to be different from this one is that the last one is supposed to be fan-made. Now we're getting to the part where this last list, this third list, it's going to be non-FNAF related. So, stuff I said about We're Strict Babysitter, for example, won't be in that list, but will actually be this list. It's a little confusing, so let me give you the quick notes. First list, FNAF only. Just think of all the games that you would consider FNAF games, fan-made games, you know, stuff like that. Games you don't usually think of FNAF fan-made, you don't put it on that list. And then you got this next list where some elements of the games don't have Five Nights at Freddy's mechanics, but has enough mechanics of it to be included into the list, but it also has to be fan-made. And the last one is that, but instead of had to be FNAF fan-made, it doesn't have to be FNAF fan-made. And obviously, there will be a lot of questions about it and a lot of rules about it, but that's where the feedback's all about. If you want to give in your little scoop about it, tell me if this is a good idea or a bad idea. I'll be more than happy to read it over. And one thing I want to add to it, it does take a while to rework something this massive when there's like nearly 500 modes to work on. So, I wish it was just simple as 50 modes where we can just do that, but unfortunately, it's going to take a while with a couple coordinations. And until everyone's on the right track, everyone that was supposed to do the list is on the right track, at least available at this point, we'll be able to do it. And I know I said we'll do it February, and it's now March. And it doesn't look like March is gonna be that either. It's complicated. Life is very complicated for all of us. It's just how it is. Now, I do talk about my enjoyment of Five Nights at Freddy's has died down a lot since I first played them back in October of 2023. So I've been doing it for a year and a half. It slowed down quite a bit the past couple months. And what started that whole chain reaction of me slowly losing interest, it's definitely the Grim Reaper. When I did that scream, that was very demotivating, I will say. I don't know how many times I've talked about it at this point. You could probably find it on Discord, so I'm not going to go too in deep with it. But to give an idea for others that don't know, I was I was in this. I was streaming this game for 6 hours straight, and about nearly all of it, I was just losing my mind. I was going crazy. And right when I thought I had the winning run, one person beat me to it, and if I block him before he attacked me, I would have won. And he was the last person to attack me, and he got me. And obviously, when you got that close to the very end and you die, it becomes very demotivating, which is what happened to me. And it kind of continued like that for a couple months, with some other things that happened on top of that were hurting my motivation, which I'll get into those very specifically in just a moment for those. But it's also a meme you can use in the soundboard if you're on our Discord, which you might have heard before. This is the no screen. And I don't like to react like that. Obviously, there could have been other emotions I could have done, but usually when I become angry, I start destroying stuff, and that's not the direction I want to go to, especially at that time. It was not even my computer I was using. I was using my brother's, so the last thing I want to do is destroy something. So I ended up taking the crazy route, and I ended up hating that a lot more. So I just try to play the games without too much of losing control, and it becomes more and more harder, obviously, as some modes tend to be. And some of the modes that I was stuck on forever, that I take a long time after because of Grim Reaper, SOS 5000. It used to be called the hardest 820 mode. Pizza Man I'm stuck on right now, which is one of the modes I definitely want to talk about more specifically later. Graduation Day, that was another one that took forever to do, but I finally done it. Unless I have the determination out of nowhere to do it, like I did with Graduation Day and the SOS 5000, I won't be able to beat hard modes anytime soon. I know I'm capable of beating them, I just don't have the motivation, which is how it is. And obviously, like I said, my interest will peak again after being away for a certain time, and be like, I want to beat it really badly, and then sit on it for a couple days before I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go stream it for like 10 hours every day until I beat it, which I kind of did for Graduation Day. And to give an idea of, if you don't think I could beat the modes, all the modes I just mentioned, besides Pizza Man, they were all top 5 modes. Like, I beat an all top 5 when I first joined. And I obviously have skills to go do it. It's just a matter of time and motivation to do so. Alright, I think I'm going to go transition back. So, take it away, future me, past me, or whatever future is going to be. I don't know how this video is going to work, but we'll see.
And welcome back. I hope you got to see myself a little bit better. I don't know how good the lighting is right here, but I hope you got to see me a little bit better. But I left off around here. These next two subjects, I have so much to talk about. It might actually take up the majority of the video. Now this next two section, I said it a couple times throughout the video, but I want to say it at the very beginning, just to make it absolutely crystal clear of what I want to say. This ain't hate or anything. This ain't like I'm trying to start a hate rally or anything like that. This is purely me to rant. If you can relate with some of the issues, I can't imagine you can, because those two subjects are very, very specifically towards me and me only. And these are just rants. This is not something you need to go out of your way to start hating someone or start rallying up behind me to go do this or that now because the opportunity is there. I go into a little bit. Hopefully I do. If not, you'll see me in the comments talking about it. But for the most part, don't send hate. This is nothing about hate or anything like that. So, but I thought I would mention that at the very beginning because I did not mention it at the very beginning. But yes.
And it's been something I've been very quiet for a while. At least one of them I definitely was for a good time period until I started opening up a little bit more recently about it. And the other one where people believe might remember I was openly having some problems with, but I decided to tone it down a bit and just try to forget it all. And this time, I'm not going to try to do that. I'm just going to be more open about it. This ain't my favorite thing to do. FNAF the games. Used to be my favorite FNAF fan game of all time. I wouldn't go out of my way to have fun or spend that much time in that game if I didn't love it. So there is some truth. There is a lot of truth with that of being my favorite mode. I mean, I streamed 14 hours of this one mode straight. So it gives you a good idea how much I was really enjoying this game. For even how basic looking it was. I wish people appreciate it a little bit more. But I'm about to shit on it in just a moment as to why. Okay, hold on, I'm getting too ahead. At the time when Have Fun was unverified, I knew I had the skills to beat it because I beat other top modes and in the max mode list, not the RML, the max mode list. There's two specifically that stands out. 621 aggressive mode. That's that Five Nights at Pokemon Control Shock game by Hanzo. That's always a game I always recommend. Another one. This one's another one. This one was considered top 10 because how insane the luck was at the time, which was Grand Finale No Charge Power. It was like top 10 at one point. So when it was predicted that it was going to be around top 150 at the very least, I saw it. It was at the very bottom of the unverified list. I was like, I'm going to go after it. I'm going to go beat it. I want to at least put my name out there that I beat him in unverified mode. And so I went for it. I got some bit of help to find the secret night. And it was just a secret night to help me find the secret night. Because not many people knew about the game beforehand. At least only a handful of people knew that game before I did. And by the time I beat it, from where I first started, it was top 150, and where I beat it now, when I verify it, it was a top 25 mo. Why such a big boost? Why did it jump all the way that way? Well, it's always hard to guess where a mo's going to land. Keep that in mind, by the way, for the next section. But keep that in mind when I say that. It's hard to predict where a mo will land. Not just that, but there was also a couple things that was going against me when I was trying to beat it. 60 hours, obviously, that's like, wow.
mode that took you 60 hours, and the mode must be a little bit harder than we think. Which is not wrong to think that, but there was a lot of context missing for it. First, 30 hours of it was spent on the other version of Have Fun. I think there was the first version, and then the second version is when I think I first played it. And then that was where half of that time went, which is the 30 hours. And then they did a third version, which is when I verified it. And they were still, I think, trying to work on the game a little bit before I end up verifying it. So there was that. Context missing. The context added now. There was a lot of lag to the game as well. So unless you're Tri-Fly, basically, or Ashton, which I believe they were the only two that I think did not really experience lag from that game. I think everyone else did, and I did too, but I think it was more of a computer issue more than the game. But I can't be for certain on that one. It could have been both, so... very slow camera movement. That's another thing. The cameras are very slow. Tri-Fly blocked a specific cool kit spot as well. What else I got? Yeah, other several small things. I didn't list them all, but it's probably too many to list. So obviously there was a lot of factors against me in that game, and when I verified it, they believe it was a really high mode, which now we know not so much anymore due to more knowledge into the mode. Now, this also helped bring up the RML. It helped push it into stardom. I wouldn't say we're getting people after people were just flocking in just to congratulate me on that server or something like that. What's funny is that I didn't join the server. I joined the server basically, I think, about an hour or two before I actually beaten it. So, not many people knew the RML at the time. But it helped. But because of that game, it put Roblox into people's radars, and we're like, we can make Five Nights at Freddy's content in this game. In this Roblox, which it feels nice that I helped to push that. Obviously, you got the game as well that helped it as well, and then other games before that helped that, which is like Big Q, and then Nocturnal Nightmare, Where Complex, and you know what's that? Far From Land. But I think this one, Finance Games, really helped push it over the edge. Like, it was on some people's radars for a little while, and then Finance Games just blew up after that. If we skip to today, the huge impact this game had, not only to the RML, but also in the other communities as well, the MML and the AML. And the RML will never be in this server without me actually playing the mode, because Tri-Fly was the one that invited me to the server. Ooh. Okay. Sorry, I was just checking my laptop battery. It seems like it's running a little low, but I think I'll make it. And then there end up being a lot of modes related to it. There's GG Man, there's like My Challenge For You, there's Try to Fly This Mice. There's so many other modes. I can't think of them all because I don't keep up with it. I don't keep up with it anymore. It always feels good when you make a big impact and you put your name in history. And there's something that, because you verified this mode and your name is attached to it forever now, all of this wouldn't happen without you. And that's basically legacy moment, I would consider. That's something like you don't get to say a lot You don't say, I put something out there. Me and someone else put this out there. And it made such a huge impact. Now, Roblox is considered one of the games you can do to have Finance of Phrase in. And that's something that, like I said, it feels good. Unfortunately, I don't think it's like that anymore. I lost my verification due to the mode being buff, and to be fair, I had a chance to get it, but around the time when that was a thing, when it was buff, I was going through Grim Reaper, and obviously when I was talking about it, it was pretty miserable. So Trifly ended up getting the verification for me, and then fast forward to January, where I didn't have a PC at that point. I always joke around. A few months before that, my brother's PC just completely died. It stopped working at all. I don't know what happened to it exactly, but it died. And because of that, I was not able to even give it a try at all on this new Have Fun buff version. And what do you know? And then after that, after it was verified again, I never got the chance to verify it again. I kind of struggle more and more on this problem, because the bigger the game is getting, the bigger the history of me with this mode is being forgotten. At least that's how I would put it. The history of this mode would be forgotten. My accomplishment to it, let me make that very clear. The mode's never going to be forgotten. I think it's going to be my accomplishment is going to be forgotten over the years. Or at least if it ever gets talked about, it'd be like, oh yeah, and then Yoshi verified that Have Fun version, the old version, and then it got taken away from him. And it's like, man, why you had to keep reminding me about that? And I'm not trying to say it as like having an ego out of it. I think when something that huge happens, at least I think it's pretty big for me. Especially since I'm part of the RML community and trying to be list leader there, an owner, and all that stuff. I feel like those are just some moments where you can't just not let it die. That's something you always got to keep the flame going on more and more. To make sure people remember that only reason why we have so much FNAF, FNATG slop, as some people say, is because of my verification. I know not everyone forgot about it, but I know some people who would join in wondering where all this comes from will never see that, will probably not see that side of the history for a while unless they randomly see someone talking about, that Have Fun verification that was taken away from him and stuff like that. And it's like, ugh. So there's that. Have Fun. If I was given a chance to verify Have Fun, if I was given another chance, I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would take it. And this kind of brings to the next one. Pizza Man. Before the buzz of Have Fun, about a month later after I beat it, just a little bit before a month later, like August 25th or something like that. It got really cold. Sorry. I pitched the idea to Trifly and Ashton of a harder Have Fun. Why would I do this? Why would I pitch them an idea? I saw a lot of potential for this mode. a lot of potential. I feel like if they're not at least pushed to the max, like they're supposed to be for max mode, and it's not pushed to max, I felt like it would have been a disgrace to at least not push it there. Now, I didn't want something like super insane like where it is now. I want Pizza Man to be the actual final challenge. I didn't want any more after that. I want to make that very clear. There's a difference between a hard challenge, but it's also meant to be fun. And I feel like Pizza Man was that. Even if some people disagree with that, I feel like that was the step in the right direction of what it is. And since then, we took 10 steps back with all the other slop, I guess some people would say. I wouldn't consider slop because I know people put a lot of time in that game. In those games, making those modes, fan made modes, and all that stuff. But I feel like what's the word I would have used for? I don't know. But the point is, it's like Pizza Man to me was supposed to be the final challenge. And when I was pitching the idea, obviously Pizza Man wasn't in the mind. I just asked them a harder have fun. Tryfly said no. Ashton thought about it, and then for 3-4 hours into the voice chat with them, with both Ashton and Tryfly, Ashton was giggling the entire time, which I always found that pretty funny. Like, every couple of minutes I was at work at the time, so when I would be talking south, I would hear it go, So obviously had fun making it, and it ended up being Pizza Man. And I ended up showing off the release version of it, which you can actually play the release version right now. Try to beat it 1 a.m. But anyways, let me see. I'm kind of got lost in my notes. Now, I knew at the time when Pizza Man was made, when I stream it, I wasn't going to beat it at that point because the mode was incomplete. It was not finished yet. It was not polished. It was not. Not everything was supposed to be verified. Basically, it needed a lot more work, and I respected it, and I chose to verify it until the mode was supposed to be done. Then, for some reason, I don't know why this happened, but there was a talk between Ashton and Tryfly that if Ashton beat the mode, Tryfly will allow Pizza Man to be public. I always kind of wonder why I was left out of that conversation. We'll never know. I'll never know exactly for sure why I was left out of that conversation. But it did happen, and if I was in that conversation, I definitely wasn't the man to do it at that point, because I do remember a certain comment Tryfly made saying that I should not re-verify Have Fun because that would take 60 hours to beat it. Holy Bill, I beat it only 2 hours, but it's kind of where the idea. The attitude stuff is. I don't take that comment too seriously, but it kind of gives you an idea of what was the idea behind that conversation. I was obviously not involved with it, and if I was, I was brushed off. And I would have never talked about this if Ashton didn't come out and say he cheated, which rubs me the wrong way in so many ways. First, my Have Fun verification gets taken away, and then and now the mode I pitched the idea for that I could have sat down and grind for, that I was never given the opportunity for that either. And I kind of felt pretty hurt at that point with this game. I felt like I gave the game a lot of love, and it wasn't giving me anything back other than hate. Hate or something. It was something. I don't know what this game is on against me at this point. And because of that, when I get the mental space Ashton was going through and stuff. I know, I understand that completely. Got finals coming up. You got people just absolutely on your ass the entire time trying to get this mode verified and all this stuff. But I don't know if I can accept the apology. It's just a special case for me at this point. Maybe sometime down the road I can probably accept it and move on, but never forget about it. But as of right now, I don't think I can. And it's just a lot of circumstances had to happen in order for me to not accept it. A lot of circumstances, because I'm usually a forgiving guy. I can just forgive, but not this time. I can't this time. Not for now. Now, I will also add this. If I was given the chance to verify it, Pizza Man, would I ever verify it? We don't know. I don't know that answer. Now, I will say, at the time when it was verified, I didn't have a computer still. So, if you were to give up the verification and give it to me, I wouldn't be able to get it until... I'd be able to play it until a month after. Or close to it. So, but, with all that aside, he didn't cheat the run, but he was still struggling to the point where he gave up, and he gave me the chance to verify it after some reason, after all shenanigans and stuff. But let's pass all the crap, and then let's say I was given a chance. I can't tell you if I would. I definitely had the skill. I will say this. I definitely had the skill. Keep in mind, a few months after Pizza Man was verified, I ended up being Graduation Day, which is now set above Pizza Man. Obviously, I didn't verify the mode, obviously, but it kind of gives you an idea that I had the skills to do it. I just, it's just my mentality. That's the biggest question. Would I be determined enough to go beat it after all that happened with Have Fun and a couple other things that surrounded outside factors in my life that happened within that time? Alright. This is probably gonna... I know a few people really want me to be Pizza Man. I mean, Taco Man. I see you, man. I see you want me to be Pizza Man. You've been commenting on my stuff all the time about Pizza Man. I don't know if I ever will. Just because of that. I feel like I'm hurt. The game hurt me too much to the point where I don't know if I want to beat it. Even play any more of it. That's just kind of where I'm at right now with the game. It hurt me too much, I will say. To the point where I don't know. As of right now, no, I don't think I want to beat it anytime soon. I know I said I want to beat every single mode, but this might be such a special case that I will probably just skip over it until either I have to or I just give up on the challenge entirely. And now, because of it, it will be a constant reminder, I should add, since the only reason why I'm part of this community, the RML, was because of FNATG. And it's going to be a constant reminder, too, on top of that, every time I join on it and see that... See, it's like, Man, the only reason I joined this server was because of FNATG. Now, unfortunately, at least for me, not you guys, I'm gonna have to cut it off here because my laptop's about to die. It was at 100 and now it's at 10. I don't have enough time to get this other topic, but I guess we're gonna do another cut. Ugh.
Hello. Crap. Hold on. Yeah. Well, now I'm just in my room, just gonna record the last little bit. I was gonna go somewhere else, but I can't be bothered anymore. So, yeah, I'm gonna hold this camera and then I'm gonna talk directly to you guys. We left off with the FNATG stuff, which hopefully that doesn't cause too much problems when that comes out, because I'm not seeking drama whatsoever with it. It's just me to vent and rant about it. But, anyways, we got Glass Can. That's another one I really want to talk about, because that one has been, I can't begin to describe how much negative impact it has on me ever since I beaten it. So I have a lot to say about it. So let's start with a disclaimer, I guess I put down. I'm not here to attack anyone about what they think the RML should be, but I want to make it very clear. This is how me and a few others, well, me and Lucky, more specifically, really like this way of the RML. And if you're not a fan of it, that's fine, but I'm tired of hearing people's opinions on how it should be run and stuff like that. And Glasskin is definitely a mode that has that negative reaction for several months. And this is probably where I'm gonna be pretty upset the most. So if I start to look like I'm about to blow up a tomato up, if I'm about to blow up like a tomato, keep in mind this is probably months and months of this crap that I've been dealing with, and forgive me if I do come off as that. It's just something I need to rant about. Okay. Hopefully with that out of the way, let's start with the term max mode. I can't be any more clear when I say this. Stop putting that word and try to make it comparable to Five Nights at Freddy's. What I mean by that is that the word max mode could be used for anything and anywhere. For example, let's say you want to play some Mario Party and you set all the CPUs to max. Well, that is a max mode. You're playing at the max settings. Excuse me. There's a couple more like that. Like Mario Kart. You know, you got like multiplayer games, Counter-Strike, Call of Duty, when you play against bots. For Honor, that's another one. There's so many different things. Even AI has a term for max mode that's completely unrelated to what we are using max modes for. How they use the word max mode is completely different, which I'm not going to go super detail into it because I didn't wrote it down, but that just gives you an idea. So, I know people in the community will use the term max mode for Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm not that dumb. I'm not an idiot when that term is obviously used for Five Nights at Freddy's. But I want to make it very clear. Just because we throw around the term max mode in the RML does not always mean Five Nights at Freddy's. It does not always have to be Five Nights at Freddy's. I think I'm going to make that
very clear. The word Maximo does not have to be Five Nights at Freddy's, and it does not have to be only Five Nights at Freddy's. But I have used this term Maximo way before Five Nights at Freddy's was even a thing, and even so, I used this term way before I was even in the community in the first place. And there's that. Yeah, so that's what people use as their main argument for like Glass Cannon should not be on the list. For those who don't know, because I know people don't check the list and stuff to see what's going on with it. So this is directed towards the people who have barely been in the community, barely interact with the community, who's also ignorant. Because there's a couple of people that I talked to in the past that just won't listen what I say. And I'm not saying that I am right as always and I should be listened to at always. But that's not what I'm saying. It's more like I would try to explain something and then people would just ignore it. So this is another moment where hopefully me explaining the video will be better than have to read a couple words, because I know most people can't read more than 5 words per message, or they just yeah. But the RML is separate into 3 lists: the main list, extended list, and unlimited list. Now, of course, I mentioned about changing the list up and stuff like that, but this is what we have right now. And the main list, that is mainly, it isn't fully, but mainly about only Five Nights at Freddy's modes that are related to the Scott Cawthon games. So think of like Five Nights at Freddy's 1, Five Nights at Freddy's 4, Simulator, stuff like that, Ultimate Custom Night. This doesn't include Security Breach and stuff like that. So if you're saying Glass Cannon doesn't belong because it's not like those type of games, well, good news. It's not on the main list. In fact, it's only on the extended and the unlimited list. How we work the list is like, we try to extend more than just Five Nights at Freddy's only, where the games have to be fan-made to Five Nights at Freddy's, or the entire gameplay experience of it has to be Five Nights at Freddy's. And if you're looking for something like that, the main list is the perfect list to go for. Now, it's not always perfect. There's a few modes that mix out on it due to how we structure the rules, like GG Man, for example. But for the most part, if you're looking for modes like that, there you go. There's the main list right there for you. Now, like I said, Glass Cannon falls into extended list and the unlimited list. And the extended list is a lot more relaxed on what is a max mode. I'm going to put that in quotation marks. What is a max mode? There's no exactly what percentage the gameplay has to be related to Scott Cawthon games. And not just that, it could be just a lot of mechanics working well. And Glass Cannon does fit in that narrative. It has, for example, the closing door mechanic at the very end. You hear it, a door shutting. That's a FNAF mechanic. I mean, shutting doors that's been around forever in gaming, but you kind of get the point what I'm saying. Another thing, clicking something on your screen to make it go away. That's like another thing that's all over the place for Five Nights at Freddy's games. Not just Scott Cawthon, but like other games as well. Five Nights at the Games, for example, that's a really good example I'm talking about. Whining the music box. I mean, that's FNAF 2 right there. And if you want to be nice, I would give it like a 50-50, but like the characters that are there to hurt you are, Freddy's. And, there's a 50-50. It's like, yes, obviously Freddy is part of the Five Nights at Freddy stuff, so it should be included as such. However, since there's only one character and it's spam all over the place, I can see it where people might not consider that, and that's fine. I'm not gonna fight tooth and nail for it, but all the mechanics are listed. It's like 50% of the gameplay. The other half is just driving. And we feel strongly enough that it goes to an extended list. If you want to make the argument it doesn't, you have to go check the other list, because check throughout the extended list, because I can guarantee you there are games out there with less mechanics than Glass Cannon. And the only reason why Glass Cannon ever gets mentioned about is because it was a top 1 mode before, and people are not going to go out of the way to go shit on Weird Strike games, for example, which is something we have already covered like 2 years ago at this point. Well, it's not 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, basically. And I know not everyone was there when that happened, so, but I thought I should at least mention, if you're gonna talk about Glass Cannon, shouldn't that be RML? There's other games I can mention that almost never get talked about, or used to be talked about, but doesn't get talked about no more. And then Unlimited list, it's just extended list, but with self-imposed modes and a few extra rules that, I don't think it's worth mentioning, since I'm mainly talking about Glass Cannon. I know I had a lot more, so I'm reading through my notes. Sorry about that. Looks like it's lagging a little bit, but anyways. I know there's one that popped in my mind, but I'm going to try to go in order. Okay, yeah. So, people are talking about the ranking of it, how it shouldn't be above GG Man, all jalapenos. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know if it is or not. This is just a guess. When I first made the post, I was foolish to say that it is above it with no experience for it. I made a stupid mistake. Whatever, man. I said that back in October, and since then I have repeatedly over and over and over again say that not only I'm not sure, but I'm perfectly okay if it is not harder than GG Man all jalapenos. If Glass Cannon's not harder than that, man, I am perfectly fine with that. It's just we don't have evidence to prove one way or another that it is harder or not. It'll be relieving. I'll be, if we have evidence right now saying GG Man is harder than Glass Cannon, I'll be the first person to move the mode, because that's how much of those comments have been bothering me. And I hate this argument too, because I can't think of another mode that has been, I guess, that's not the right word I'm looking for, but basically in a nutshell, has been scrutinized, that's the word I'm looking for, scrutinized enough of what if it's supposed to be above it or not, because the person who verified it had no experience with the other modes around it. And I'm going to be perfectly with you, try to perfectly honest with you. I did my best educational guess. Comparing it with the other 1998 modes, with Graduation Day, quite a bit with Pizza Man, since I have quite a bit of experience with it now. If we have evidence right now saying GG Man is harder than Glass Cannon, I'll be the first person to move the mode, because that's how much of those comments have been bothering me. And I'm going to be perfectly with you.
You know, I only have about 60% of it, but man, that's kind of close. But if you don't want to give me credit for that, that's fine. You know, like I said, graduation day, and there's Flossie Hell and then Speed Demon. Speed Demon is around that range. It doesn't make sense if Flossie Hell is going to be right above it because the terms of difficulty is such a huge jump that I feel like it's worth it to at least make the guess and put a few modes above it. And then make Glass Canyon, that's also like that, a bigger jump than Velocity Helm, a few more modes above that. Even if I'm just completely talking out my ass and thinking that it might be, but we don't know. We don't know about that. And I want to make a comparison to a mode that no one ever said about it, about the authenticity of the rank. Pizza Man, you know, bringing this mode back, but I hope this is the last time I mention about it, at least for this video. It was predicted to be number 1, and soon it got verified. It got put at number 1. Now, fast forward to today, Pizza Man is now below Graduation Day and Dawn of the Dead, which, when it was first ranked, it was above those 2 modes. So it gives you an idea that we were wrong in the past, and Glass Canyon getting this much attention over it is pretty dumb. And I'm not going to theory craft exactly why Glass Canyon is getting treated this way, other than it's a top mode, which is that's just fact. It's going to get crapped on because it's a top mode. But if you play both modes, and you say Glass Canyon's above it, I'll be fine with that. If you say GG Man All Jalapenos is harder than that, I'm fine with that as well. I know I mentioned this already, but I just want to be that clear on that. What else I got for Glass Canyon? Now, this is kind of just a thing for personal reasons. If you guys can stop talking so much shit about Glass Canyon, that'll be nice, because I'm getting to the point where I feel completely unsatisfied with it being it. In fact, I feel a lot of regret beating Glass Canyon because of all these negative comments, negative stuff towards it, and trust me, it's a lot. And it's kind of one of the main reasons why I have stopped playing max modes for a while, is because of these comments. So if we can just tone it down quite a bit, that would be lovely. And then I got one more section. I forgot to put this somewhere in the video. So it's not really related to this section. It's probably going to go in a different... It's probably supposed to go in a different section, but I'm just going to put it here. My Discord server. I know for some reason I forgot to talk about it. I promise you, it's not made for nothing for the server. There is good attention for it. I just probably made it way too soon, considering the stuff I'm going through right now. And this was before stuff like Glass Canyon and stuff were... I think it was before Glass Canyon was beaten when I made the server. So at the time, I had good intentions with ideas that I wanted to do, which is get the community to help me out with some projects that I'll be very passionate behind. You know, like the RML Awards, for example, if I ever get around to it. And there's one very secret project that I'm definitely going to have to work alone for. But once that comes out, it'll be something that the RML community is going to really love, and I think as well with the other two communities, with the MML and the AML, I think they're going to like the video. Or at least the idea of it. I can't promise about the execution. And maybe some other servers out there that focus a lot on Roblox and like hardest achievements, which I know one of them for sure. I think they'll like something like that. That's kind of the idea for the server. Is my personal projects help get worked on by other communities. It'll be the easier way to do that, but I just haven't been on it anytime soon. But I swear it's not a completely waste of a server space or anything like that. I just haven't got around to do those projects. But I think that's it. I think that's all I got. Now, of course, if I have more to say, you're gonna see me with the next cut, with hopefully not this much lag through the video, which is kind of what I'm seeing right now. But oh, I guess one very small thing, if you make it this far about making a single comment, don't expect me to respond all the comments, because I know there's going to be some moments where I probably did not make the best of myself, kind of with the whole FNATG games and stuff like that. Those are some very personal stuff that only I can relate. And if you don't have anything positive to say, I really recommend just talking to me about it. Now, if there's criticisms, I can obviously listen to that, but there's a difference between criticism and hate. I'm just kind of tired of those comments. Not the criticism part, I can handle that. Just the hate. And there's a fine line I'm kind of on at this point with it. But I'm going to stop ranting. I've probably been ranting a little bit too long now. The video is probably like an hour long, maybe an hour and a half. But if I have more to say, I'll make a part 2. If not, most of the stuff I might more to say will be in the comments if there is good reason to respond to them. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I guess I'll see you all in the next one, where I'll be live streaming or making a different video or something. Yeah. No, I forgot about something. So the one thing, it's small. It's nothing like outrageous. I mean, not something that blah 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 blah. If you want to check down the description, I made a little survey on how you think the RML is going. There's, no, I did mention about the hate stuff and like that. This is like the perfect moment where if there's something that's negatively impacted, you can put much heart and soul in there. And unlike putting it in my comment section here, I felt if you put some hate in there, don't obviously do it if you don't have any hate. But if there's some things you hate about the RML, I'll be more happy to read it over and see what that's about. There's been conversations about making a survey, and I thought, since I've been ranting about all this RML stuff and personal stuff, I'm like, why not? So, if you take the time to take over the survey, read the survey, let me know what you think about it, and yeah, thank you.